Love and happiness make you do right.
Yeah, that's right.
Love and happiness make you do right.
Yo, it make you do right.
Just finished up the second round of four-wheel drive racing here on Saturday at the Reedy Race, and Travis Amezcua, Team Durango driver, taking home one of those wins. What did you think when we got into four-wheel racing today?
My four-wheel was good in practice, so it's just a matter of finding a little easier setup, and I knew my four-wheel would be good. So and it's all about getting good starts too. You know, no one's really making a mistake, so it's hard to catch people, pass people. The first round today, I started 10th on the grid. I finished 7th, so that was about as best I can do from that far back. And I had a pole position that time, and I just took advantage of it and just cruised around to a win.
And we ran a whole bunch of two-wheel drive leading up to this. You guys had one little practice run. Did the track change a whole lot since the last time you had run your four-wheel buggy on Thursday?
Definitely seemed like there's definitely more grip for sure. So it was about fine-tuning the car for the more grip today.
And the four-wheel drive cars are considerably faster. You guys were braking a lot hard at the end of the straightaway. Did that really change how aggressive you guys could be when you're racing heads up?
As far as the grip being much higher, not really. You know, we're just still going just as fast as we would be if the traction was a little bit lower. Just to be driving.
I mean, two-wheel drive versus four-wheel drive, though.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, definitely four-wheel drive. You can send it in a little bit deeper in the straightaway brake later because it's under four-wheel braking.
And what are you changing on your car tomorrow? You think the track's going to continue to change, and what do you think is going to be the key to, getting some better points totals for tomorrow?
For changes, I'm not sure I'm going to change yet. If I'm making any or just keep running it, it's all about the grid position. You know, I have 2 middle starts and 1 more towards the back, and 1 more in the front, I think, tomorrow. So just get good starts.
Oh, well, good luck, man.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, Team Durango's Ryan Lutz here. Ryan, you had a pretty good run in the first 6 rounds of two-wheel drive, but you even said it yourself, you were really looking forward to four-wheel.
Yeah, you know, two-wheel drive is still kind of the class I struggle with the most, but I'm definitely going to try to put more time into it this year. Now that looks like everybody's gone to mid-motor for everything, so now I can stick with one platform and practice it. And then, you know, four-wheel drive, I'm just so used to all the 8-skill stuff that I run, which is all four-wheel drive, so it's a much more comfortable class for me.
But you're not really used to, I guess no one's really used to the whole heads-up format of the Reedy Race where you're just racing every time we hit the track. Do you like it, and how do you think it played out today?
You know, it's once a year, so yeah, it's kind of fresh for everybody, but it's a challenge. I mean, tempers are flaring in the pits. There's people getting angry. I mean, it's head-to-head battles. People are giving it all they have, and, you know, it's bump and run sometimes, but, you know, I try to race as clean as I can. If I make a mistake and tag somebody, I try to wait. You just do what you can, you know, and hopefully the referees can call what people don't acknowledge themselves. But it's heads up. It's exciting. Every single race counts. Everything matters. You don't want to make a mistake, so it is what it is. Yeah.
How much of the strategy then is knowing who that you're racing against and how you can compete with them, how hard you can push them, and how hard they're going to push you?
That's part of it, yeah, especially on starts. You see where you're at on the grid. You see is that in front of you. You kind of know maybe if you can pass them or get past them, and so you use that as your mentality going into it. You know, I'm going to tag behind them, and I know I can make a pass on them, so I'm going to be more patient. Or if you got the fast guys a little bit in front of you, you try to tag behind them and follow them through the pack.
How much different is it racing heads up in four-wheel than it was in two-wheel earlier this weekend?
For me, much easier because if I get behind, I feel like I can catch up. So in two-wheel, I'm just not comfortable yet, but I'll get there.
Well, you certainly looked comfortable driving the four-wheel car. Good job today, and good luck tomorrow.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
We're here with current four-wheel drive national champion, and you started things off in four-wheel drive here with a win. Feel a little more comfortable driving the four-wheel car?
Yeah, it's been a lot better. A lot more confident with it. Can push it harder. Just can race around better with it.
And I know that you're running some different stuff on your two-wheel buggy this weekend, so that probably makes it even more comfortable driving the four-wheel just because you've been racing that car for a little while now.
Yeah, we kind of know what it's going to do, how to set it up. Just know how everything works with it, so it's a lot more comfortable.
And you did really well last year on the first couple of races with the D413 on a big outdoor track. But did you have to change a whole lot coming here to a tight, twisty clay track?
Just a few things, like not really the diffs or anything, but just kind of stuff to make it rotate better. Just for the littler bumps, like outdoors, more big jumps. So it's just a few things, but not too much.
And we see, a lot of guys that are approaching these heads-up starts, in different ways. You get, a lot of chance to race with the same group of guys, but do you have a different strategy when you head into the first quarter every time?
It depends on where I'm starting, and usually try to go wide around all the pileups because they usually happen right tight against the pipe, especially with the drop downs. So just try to do that and get around all the carnage.
We've heard actually from a lot of the drivers, they think the end of the straightaway is the most difficult part.
Yeah, it definitely is. If you go really tight, there's a big lip. If you go outside, it's different. Like it's pretty tough part of the track, especially the start, since you're going so slow, and the guy in front of you is jumping, and when you're on the track, and it's difficult.
And there's also not a whole lot of places on this track to pass. We see a lot of guys that are going for the bonsai passes, trying to jump over each other on the big jumps.
Yeah, there's not a lot of places if you don't make a mistake, so you gotta just try to get a gap and then send it on somebody and see what happens.
And we've heard from a lot of people that there's been so much sending in on people that there's some of the racers are starting to disagree a little bit.
Yeah, it's I don't know, it's kind of hard. It's just you want to get by people, and you don't have a lot of time, so they're trying risky stuff, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but I don't know. It's how the Reedy race is, I guess.
Do you think that's a matter of just because, you're racing against the same group of 30 people 12 times in one weekend?
Yeah, it starts out clean the first couple races, but then people start to get points up, and they start to be a little more aggressive, and by the end it gets pretty ugly.
And you're sitting, where are you sitting after 2 days? Do you know yet?
I was 7th before the last one, so I don't know yet. They haven't printed out the sheet, but hopefully somewhere high.
Does that change how you go into tomorrow?
I don't know, just maybe gives a little more confidence, getting 2 high scores, and just try to get some better ones tomorrow, and try to make the best out of my starts.
Well, good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
We got TLR, a frontman here, two-wheel drive national champion Dakota Phend, doing some four-wheel racing here at the end of the day. How's the weekend gone for you?
The weekend has gone really good. I had 4 good runs in two-wheel, and then I had a count of 6 as one of my rounds. But besides that, two-wheel was really good. My car was awesome. Running mid-motor this weekend, so that's a new change.
That was a surprise to a lot of us. The track's a certain way when even Dakota's running mid-motor.
Yeah, there's a lot of traction out here, and I've been running mid-motor a lot back home on stuff on indoor play tracks, and I've gotten a lot better. So I came here with that, but I did bring my rear motor car just in case.
And then you guys ran the 22.4. Of course, you guys ran at the Worlds last year, but this being the second big race for it. And again, that was a big outdoor track. Now you're on a tight indoor clay track.
Yeah, it's really good on there. Really easy to drive and fast and smooth. And back home, I'm running on clay and stuff and finding a good setup. And I came here and it was pretty much ready to go. Just made a few little changes.
Do you feel more comfortable racing, where you're just qualifying and then you race heads up in a couple of main events, or do you like the format where you're racing every time you hit the track?
This is definitely a lot of fun, but it's a lot more risky and there's a lot more luck involved and stuff, but it's a lot of fun. There's no other race like this in the world, so it's cool to be able to start out the year like this.
How much of it's strategy and how much of it's luck?
I'll say probably like 50-50. There's a lot of strategy involved in luck and putting yourself in the right position and not taking any unnecessary risks or anything. But a lot of it is luck, where you start with the people that are in your main and just what happens at the start.
In that last race, you guys were battling for position all the way up until the very end. Is it difficult not to get excited and start making mistakes?
Yeah. Just the intensity is so high during all these races, but it's just a lot of fun.
And, the races are only 5 minutes long, like most electric races, but like you said, every time you guys hit the track, it seems like everyone's just punched, ready to go racing, from the time you go into this really scary first corner.
Yeah, that's how it has to be with this race. There's no warming up and taking it easy the first few laps. This is, racing from the start all to the end.
Do you think the track was easier to race in two-wheel drive, or is it more fun in four-wheel?
I think it's a lot harder with four-wheel just because we're going so much faster into the corners. Some people drive smoother and harder, and with four-wheel there's a bigger difference there. So I think two-wheel is a little easier.
Are you changing anything on your car for tomorrow, or do you think everything's really good and you just got to make the best of your starting position?
I'm going to keep it the same. It's really good.
Well, good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
You got the British Team Associated driver here, Neil Cragg. You won a heat in two-wheel and already grabbed a round win in the first couple of four-wheel runs.
Yeah, my four-wheel drive's started pretty good. I won the first round, and second and second one, you know, I started at the back and just kept my head down and kept plugging away, and you know, second, I'll take that all day.
Is it tougher to race on this track on four-wheel drive just because the cars are so much faster?
I thought it would be. I thought it would be tougher because everyone's pretty much the exact same speed. But what I have seen is there's been way more crashing. So it's been a little. I think it's been a little easier to race in four-wheel drive because there's been so much crashing. If you can keep your car on your wheels, it doesn't matter if you're fast or slow. You get in, you know, decent points.
And we saw that immediately. I mean, there were only a handful of guys that even won one two-wheel drive round that won a four-wheel drive round later today.
Yeah, that's it. You know, I mean, you know what four-wheel drive's like. It's so fast and furious. Keeping on its wheels is half the job done. You know, so but. You know, my four-wheel drive was really good in practice, so I was hoping for a couple of good starting races, and I got that. And hopefully, yeah, I kick on tomorrow and try and stay in the top 10. I sneak, you know, maybe sneak a top 5, but I'll take top 10 for now.
And do you think that a lot of the crashing that we saw here in four-wheel drive is just we're starting to get later in the weekend, and some of the racers are starting to get a little bit more desperate?
Yeah, you know what, it could be that. Like some people they're already used up the throwout, so. They're getting desperate. I mean, 1 point, 2 points, they make a big difference at the end. And maybe people are just trying to go too fast, you know. My first concern is always keeping on its wheels. I'll worry about pace later on.
And there's not a whole lot of passing spots to pass either, which I'm sure has a lot to do with it. It's kind of funny watching guys going for a bonsai pass over a jump at like the 2-minute mark.
Yeah, no, it's crazy, man. I mean, everyone wants to win, but I want to win fairly. You know, I don't want to just chew someone off. I mean, in the last race, I was behind Joseph, and I tried for the life of me to get past him as far as I could, and I followed him and looked inside, outside, but I had to follow him for like 5 laps before I got past. But you know, that's racing. You don't have to be fast to be in front. You just have to keep it tight.
And we saw that actually in two-wheel. Some of the slower racers that are down at the bottom of the standings, even if they start up front, you know, the faster guys can get around them relatively quickly. But in four-wheel drive, if they start up front, you know, if they drive defensively, they can keep people behind them for quite a while.
Yeah, I mean, four-wheel drive usually evens a lot of people out. You know, maybe some guys are four-wheel drive specialists, so everyone's roughly the same pace. You know, honestly, you know, give or take a couple of tenths. So it's almost like you're racing against extra people in four-wheel drive. You know, but you know, four-wheel drive is cool, and I enjoy it. And we'll see what happens tomorrow.
You think that the track's been changing a whole lot all weekend? I mean, you guys ran a whole lot of two-wheel drive. You hadn't touched your four-wheel buggy since Thursday.
To be honest, when we first went on the track, it was really slippy, but I mean, it doesn't really bother me grip. As long as it's the same for everyone, then. But it has come up a lot since we last were on with the four-wheel drive. But my four-wheel drive was good in practice, and I put it on today, and thankfully it's been pretty decent straight out of the blocks. And we'll see what tomorrow brings.
What's your strategy going in tomorrow? Is it just kind of take every race one, you know, lap at a time, or are you kind of looking at, you know, certain heats and trying to size up which ones you think you have a better advantage?
I mean, you always look at your starting position straight away. You want to be on the front, but it's sometimes not the worst thing in the world if you're at the back. Big pile up, you can take advantage of it. I just try and get into the first corner, keep my head down, keep out of trouble, and then see where it goes. But you do look at the people who are in your race and you think, oh, Mayfield, Cavalieri, that's going to be hard work, or Tebow, Ty, but you generally think, I mean, I'm just one of them guys, I just like to keep my head down and, you know, pick up points quietly without anyone taking any notice.
Well, good luck doing that tomorrow.
Cheers, mate.
And I'm taking them down, I'm breaking them down. These walls of hatred embracing my town, closing us in to corrupt the souls, telling us to buy jealousy with trust and soul. Now we've heard the story told, the story's old.